the 211th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the first day of April 2015. This episode is titled No Foolin. CloudFocus Weekly is brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Embrace the award-winning CRM platform that is better than all the rest. For more information, head to www.microsoft.com/CRM. Live the dream. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and joining me is the co-host for 211 times in a row, Justin Edelstein.
Ain't no fooling around.
No, sir.
Don't we have a page on our website that talks specifically about Dynamics?
Oh,
Arkusinc.com/Dynamics.
That would have been funny. If we had any kind of, time to go put together.
If we actually produced the show.
We could have put up a funny thing. My favorite one today so far there's been three. Clout, when I logged into Clout this morning, was just sort of one of my bookmark bars that logs in when I open up my browser, my Chrome browser. So it logs me into Clout. It said, big announcement, you've reached 297 Clout score, which obviously they only go to 100. So it's you're at 267 or something. You have a special prize
is it
coming.
297 or 267?
Whatever. I don't know. It was over 200, which is impossible. So the point was, it was funny. And it's pick your award. And it was go, trip to Mars. It was
ooh, the one-way trip to Mars.
Dinner with the president. Whatever. It was funny. That was good. The Google Maps one. Have you seen that one?
I've seen nothing.
Oh, Google Maps. You go to Google Maps, and then there's a little thing on the bottom.
For me, the best one so far today has been ours.
Well,
our little one here.
Keep listening, and I'll tell you the really good one.
Where am I supposed to go? Google?
Yeah, go to Google Maps, maps.google.com.
Google Maps. Okay, on my way, sir.
Okay, when you get there, let me know when you have an actual map picked out.
Maps.google.com.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on Google Maps. Am I supposed to look for a place?
On the bottom right corner.
Oh, you mean the little Pac-Man
yeah.
Jammy Jams?
Yeah, it's a game. You can play
I can play Pac-Man on here? I think this was out there yesterday.
Well, I think it came out at midnight.
Oh.
April 1st.
I'm playing right now.
Don't play.
Forget the rest of this podcast because I am now playing Pac-Man.
That is a terrible thing. I cleared the first board.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to die.
All right, shut it down. And then
I don't want to shut it down. It's so much fun.
The one that was fun today was going to Amazon, and they had a picture of their 1998 website. When you landed on it, it was the pic. You check my Twitter feed, you can see a picture. It's great. It's old school Amazon with
nice.
The tabs and the whole thing, and it was like our new look. And then it kind of disappeared when you got on Amazon. So I thought those were good ones. Those kept me laughing.
That is kind of cool. I want to see old. Sorry, I'm still playing Pac-Man.
Turn it off.
I did. I want to see Salesforce do that. I want to go back to the original Salesforce user interface for a second.
The one that I remember from 2000. That one,
if you remember it. I want that one.
I have some pictures of websites that I worked on that were from that era. So I have a 1997 picture of website work, and it's just unbelievably bad, just how bad it was back in the day. All right, well, we have an agenda. First of all, we have a pre-apologize, which is that there will be no podcast next week. In fact, there was almost not going to be a podcast this week because you are traveling tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Friday.
Yeah, coming back Friday.
And then I'm away all next week. So right. I snuck this in at the last minute on a Wednesday, figuring let's just get it in there. So we have a couple things. We have 2 blog posts by the 2 best bloggers there are. That's you and I, if you didn't get that. Then we have our 9 truths that computer programmers know that most people don't. We'll pick 1 or 2 that are funny. We have the new Amazon Dash button, which looks like an April Fool's joke, but it's not. And then we'll talk a little about Dreamforce, and then we'll pick some picking of the picks. So let's kick off with my blog post from last week called Merge with Caution. This came about because I was helping a client do a lot of merging of accounts and contacts, and it was a big process. And we talked about the tools and the technologies to do it. And as we went through it, we were talking about sort of what are the things that you lose? What do you lose when you merge, right? Because the merge tool inside of Salesforce does its job. It matches up fields. It allows you to pick one. But it doesn't really tell you that you lose data. Some of these I thought were kind of shockingly bad. So the big one is chatter. You lose the chatter when you merge.
You do lose the chatter.
That's kind of big. If you can imagine like having chatter from two different things, and you're using it part of your process, you're using it part of your communication, and you just lose half of it.
Do you lose the files?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So like if there's a file attached to a post or comment, when you delete the record, it deletes all that stuff.
Yeah.
All that
well,
stuff?
because that's what it actually does. It actually deletes the old record. It doesn't actually merge them. Merging is when you take two records and you take you put them together.
Magic.
Yeah, magic. So anyway, that's one.
Merge magic.
The other one I thought was kind of tricky is field history. If you're using field history to track important things that you want to know that you then reports on part of your process, yeah, it goes bye-bye. You don't get your field history when you merge. I mean, you get the one that you merged with, because that becomes the master. It basically just takes data from one and throws it in the other, but the other one gets deleted. I thought that was kind of,
you know what else you lose that I don't think you mentioned, but you may have mentioned and I just glossed over it. But I think other people mentioned when you posted this in the community and there started a little conversation around it, was when you have like two different email addresses or two different phone numbers. Like someone uses their business phone and someone else uses their mobile phone, but they both use the same field, phone.
Oh, of course.
Same thing for email. Like you lose one of them unless you copy and paste.
Oh yeah, there's tons
somewhere.
But
like
that's a known one because
something.
because you see two fields, you know you're
you
picking
have to
one
pick
of them.
One, right?
Right. So you know that. And in the case that you're actually merging, you want to move that, there's ways to pull data out, stuff it into other fields. In fact, you showed me a cool way to do it with sort of just renaming the field, exporting or renaming the field in the file and then just importing it back in. So you can do that. The other thing is, and this is kind of, I actually put in a idea on this, the merging tool. So when you merge contacts, they're both underneath an account, so they have to be there. It's kind of a pain, but at least you know that they're both there, and then you can click merge, and it says here's the contacts that are in this account, and you pick the 2 or 3 and you say merge. But when you're merging an account, like I showed as an example and I put into the idea exchange, the naming convention has to be almost exact. Like I have the example of having ABC carpets and carpets, ABC, and if you search for ABC or carpets, both accounts won't show up into the merge. The merge search is terrible. It's extremely stupid. It needs to have it be the start. It needs to be carpets something. It can't be, or they both need to be ABC.
A little weird.
Why isn't that just a search engine? Like why isn't that just search?
Because it's a really old feature that hasn't been touched in a while, I'm certain.
Well, you would think with all the dupe blocking and things like that.
I turned that on the other day for somebody.
Yeah? How'd it go?
Really easy.
Is it nice?
Yeah, it works.
Nice.
It worked.
So anyway, that's called Merge with Caution. That's on blog.arkusinc.com. Leave a message, post it, have it, fun,
comment
bookmark it.
Love it.
The next one
like it
is the longest titled blog post ever.
Yeah, I threw some words in there, didn't I?
Actually breaks the website.
That's not my fault.
Well,
that's the webmaster. Hey, webmaster.
I could have just edited
make the website better.
I just edited your SEOing of everything you put in there. So this one is called Completing the 360-Degree Customer View with Salesforce Lightning Connect Extreme 2015.
No,
Extra
stop it.
Awesomeness.
Oh, with your April Fool's jokes.
I love April Fools.
Stop it.
So, yeah, you can take off the other. It's just completing the 360-degree customer view with Salesforce Lightning Connect.
Correct.
Oh, just that.
Correct.
Posted today, April 1st. See, it might be a joke. Really?
It's not a joke.
Tell me what this Lightning Connect is.
For real.
I think that's fake.
So I took a stab at describing Lightning Connect with a use case in mind. And we focus a lot on banking here at Arkus, and I wanted to use banking, an integration with the bank core as an example of, making a decision, like what data from the bank core do I want to have inside of Salesforce and live inside of Salesforce as real data, versus, an example of data that would be somewhat useful and potentially helpful in completing the full view of the customer as it relates to servicing them. But just the volume of it, it doesn't warrant being put into Salesforce. It's just too much. It'd get too messy, too noisy. It'd start to slow down from a performance perspective. So,
the fighting words.
No, not really. I mean, when you're talking about millions and millions of records, I think Salesforce would even tell you, don't put that in there.
Yeah, reports, list views, things like that.
Search. Things start to slow down.
Which, you know what? That's what they used to say, 2007, like when we got into LDV, large data volumes.
But it's still true.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't kind of reevaluated. Said, you know what? Okay, under 10 million is fine. Above 10 million.
Well, they are starting in with things like Lightning Connect and things like, big objects. So
big objects.
Yeah, different tools and technologies. Anyway, so Lightning Connect, just to high level it, is a way to see data inside of Salesforce as though it was real Salesforce data, but it actually doesn't live in Salesforce. It lives somewhere else.
Where does it live?
Anywheres.
Anywhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah,
somewhere
Anywhere?
that you can connect to it as a service with an OData connector. Yay.
So what's OData?
Well, I linked to it in the article here so that you can actually go. Yeah, it's a bit of a punt. I don't want to.
You punted by linking to Wikipedia?
Kinda, yeah. Kind of like an ODBC driver, but it's OData. It's a standard for connecting to an external data source. Anyway, so the idea here is that you can bring in these views into data without writing Visualforce pages, without making API calls, or technically writing API calls in Apex.
Right.
You're just configuring, click, configure, point to a service URL, and then it reads the schema of the database that you're pointing to and says, all right, what table would you like to bring in if there's more than one? In this case, I use the example of transactions at a bank. So every day, there's millions and millions and millions and millions of transactions across a bank. And you'd never bring that data,
people
going to the ATM, making a deposit, making a withdrawal, making a payment, so on and so forth. You'd never bring that stuff into Salesforce. But if you were a customer service representative and you got a phone call, like, I'm standing at the ATM at this branch and it just ate my check as I was depositing it.
Never happens.
Never, ever. Or I went to withdraw $100 and it gave me $60. What's going on? It would be nice if you were using the Service Cloud to be able to see that transaction in real time. So that's the use case that I went over. And basically, you can take these external objects, as they're called, and you can actually relate them to internal objects, real custom objects or standard objects. So when you load, for example, a contact, you could see the transactions that contact has made, provided that there is some sort of identifier that is in Salesforce that can be identified against the transaction. You can also create lookups to the external object, a transaction, from another object. So a case, for example, you can have a related list on the external object, a transaction, and say new case, and it'll actually keep the lookup to that record on the case. So you can see, for this case, I'm referencing this particular transaction, which is really nice. And the data doesn't actually exist in Salesforce. You can search for it. You can even report on it.
That's pretty cool.
And then we're currently in OData. I think they're currently using OData 2.0. Safe Harbor OData 4.0's out as of March, but I don't think Salesforce is using it yet. They're looking to. And OData 4.0 allows read-write. Right. Currently, this is read-only. So the data comes into Salesforce in a read-only fashion, but Safe Harbor, once they go to 4.0, they could potentially write.
If you say it 3 times, Beetlejuice arrives. Just don't say it 3
I
times
thought
in a
you
row.
would go home. So yeah, hopefully maybe one day you can connect to this external data source and actually write back to it from within Salesforce.
That'd be cool. It's something that we've, it's been an issue, especially with big data or bigger data. Retail is the other example that, right, when you're doing sort of, yes, I want to look up Jason Atwood, and yes, I want, I'm Amazon, let's say, and I want to look up Jason Atwood in the CRM, but I don't not have all his transactions and credit card and stuff that's, in big database storage. I want to be able to see it inside of Salesforce, but I don't want to have it pull in. And so before, you would use a Visualforce element, and you would then make calls out and display it, but it wouldn't be very useful, and it wouldn't be sort of clickable, and it wouldn't be lookupable. And now it can be with this. So it's a really cool hybrid.
I can also think of data sources that you're not necessarily the authority over,
right,
but want to use in your process. For example, if you wanted to capture applications that, like if you're managing a school and then you wanted to capture applications that all your students are applying to different colleges, and there was some authority that had every accredited university across the country or across the world in some database that had this ability to connect to it, you can now just use that as your data source as opposed to managing it yourself and having to always update it. You can just use.
I think this actually, you bring up a very good point. I think in the managed package app exchange for data providers, this is a boon because they no longer have to sync or bring it in. They can, I don't know if this would all work, I'm just spitballing. You could install their managed package, which installs the OData, connects to the Lightning Connect connects to their data source, has it come in and shows all the stuff, and looks and feels there and is related and all that. But it's not. I don't have to worry about it, right? So I can I don't have to control. I don't have to worry about the data going into Salesforce and being taken out and all that sort of stuff. They get a little bit more control of it because it doesn't. It's there, but it's not there. Poof, and it's gone. All right, so that's also on blog.arkusinc.com. Good, fun stuff. Next up, 9 truths that computer programmers know that most people don't. Now, it would be funny. Someone should write this is what the blogmaster should take down, is that someone should write the 9 truths that Salesforce admins know that most people don't. Or it's like #why admins drink, which was a funny video. So go into this. I don't know if it's actual. No, I'm looking at the cache version still. But let's pick like one each. There's 9 of them. They're all facts. They're kind of funny. Pick one that you like the most, and let's chat about it.
Okay. So I really liked fact number 2.
Okay, good. Because I was going to pick one lower. Good. What's fact 2?
Fact number 2, that about 25% of the hours spent writing an application are spent figuring out ways the end user will do something wrong. All the exceptions, all the little, they're going to swipe this way if you're talking about mobile. They're going to click this button. They're going to go in this sequence. I always, from the, years and years ago, and when we worked at that large company and we were really building custom software, and without the boundaries that Salesforce provides, which I think are smart. They're frustrating at times, but they're also really smart because it's like, here's this framework and some boundaries that you have to work within, or we recommend that you work within. When you have no boundaries, you can kind of just make up whatever you want. And then I remember having to think through, well, this is the way I want people to use this thing. Oh, they're not gonna know that.
Right.
they're gonna do all sorts of weird stuff. So having to think through all of those scenarios and then break things purposely while testing, how do I break this?
Right.
In Salesforce, you want a button? Here's a button. That's what the button looks like.
Right.
The button. What should it do? It should create a record? Okay, it creates a record. That's it.
That's a good one. I was a programmer for a small part of my life. Wrote code. It was fun, but you definitely spent a lot of time thinking about how someone's going to break and testing. My favorite is something that's still it's fascinating. It's a fascinating thing about the mind itself, and I find it to be true. It's happened to me many, many times, which is fact number 7. Sleeping with a problem can actually solve it. And I don't know if you're out there, you're trying to figure something out, how to do something, it's just not working, especially in programming where you're the answers they're not as obvious, and because you're sort of building something from scratch. I mean, many times I've gone to bed and just said, all right, that's it. And your mind overnight will kind of just churn on it and will flip it around in your head and kind of think, wow, and you wake up in the morning. And it might not be like you wake up and like, it's there. But like sometimes it'll happen to me. I'll wake up in the morning. I'll then be doing something menial where my mind isn't paying attention to anything. Like I'll be walking the dog and all of a sudden, it hits the front of my head. And I'm like, oh, I can do it that way. And I didn't just come up. I wasn't even thinking about the problem, but clearly my mind solved it earlier and then just sort of let it come out. I also feel this way about emails too. Sometimes when I have a difficult email, I'll like sit on it for a bit and just let my mind chew it. And then, an hour later, 2 hours later, it'll go, oh, why don't you answer it this way? And then you're like, oh yeah, thank you for telling me that. So fact number 7, it's a neat little article. Although I don't know if it's actually up now. Oh yeah, it's back up. Okay, so it's on a site called, I don't even know, McLeod Sawyer. If you just type in 9 truths that computer programmers don't know, most people don't. So March, it's back up because it was down for a bit, and I had to use the cached version. But it's back up, so go check it out. All right, next up is something that was launched yesterday, late breaking news. So Amazon has had a program called Amazon Dash. This is actually, we're not talking about Dash, we're talking about Dash button. Amazon Dash is a little device, and they launched it, I think, a couple months ago. It's kind of like a remote. Like I want to pick up this Apple remote. So it's like this. It has a couple buttons on it. You can scan things in your house, and it immediately puts them on your Amazon list.
For real?
Yep. You can talk to it.
Why didn't I know about this thing?
Because you don't pay attention.
Yeah, it's true.
So you can talk to it, and you can say, I need more chocolate chips, and it'll turn that into, chocolate chips and put it on your Amazon list. And there's a great video on it. So this has been around for a couple months, and it's okay. They give it to you, and obviously it's a service. It's probably free because then you're kind of buying their stuff. The scanning the barcodes is cool, although they've had that on the iPhone forever. Like, you can use your Amazon app on your iPhone and scan a barcode, and it'll tell you exactly what it is. In fact, you can take a picture of something and send it to Amazon, and they'll figure out what it is, and they'll tell you what it is. So, I mean, they have millions of ways to get you to buy from Amazon. Which
Amazon's so amazing.
I do not have any problem. This, though, is kind of like, this is called the Amazon Dash button. This is new. These are buttons, little small, you've seen the video, but they're little small, maybe 2 inches by an inch.
Yeah.
They are powered. They have Stickum on them, and then you place them around next to the thing that you're using. So
I see the example for Tide.
Yes.
Stuck to a washing machine.
And all you do is when you're putting in your last load or whatever and you're running out, you just click the button in front of you, and then it automatically orders it from Amazon.
So dangerous.
Well,
so dangerous for children.
Nope. If you press it more than once, it won't do it. If you press it 10 times, it won't do it. They thought of that.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. It goes through Wi-Fi, obviously. I thought the good example was more of at home. This is not a great thing. I don't know. This is not as interesting to me. Although, I don't want to have like my cupboard have tons of little buttons and just going, I need more of this, this, and this. It seems like you might as well just go make the list. They also have subscribe and save, which I use all the time. What I thought it'd be interesting is in the office environment. So someone goes to the coffee machine and looks at the Keurigs, and they're down to 3 and just hits the button.
Yeah.
And orders more Keurigs, and they come 2 days later.
I want that biometric, so I'm the only one that can order them. Like they build it in so like these people have buying approval for these things.
Doesn't matter, it's just Keurig, whatever.
No.
You
need a new desk. Button click.
It's a little weird. They talked about the future of it. This is getting even.
The future.
The future.
Tell me about the future.
A Brita with built into the filter. It counts how much water's gone through it.
Yeah.
And then can automatically order when the filter is dead.
Yeah, because they already know, like, the Britas have, like, this filter needs this Brita needs a new filter.
Right.
But what I'm a little confused about is how do they know that you don't have a filter, like a 10-pack of filters? Like, that would need to be really smart.
Well, the point
is...
is...
they're on their 10th filter that they ordered.
the point is just-in-time stuff. Like, this is where this is going. But keep going with it. Vacuum bags.
Toothpaste.
With toothpaste, you could have just a little button. And
toilet paper.
I mean, that's perfect. You're literally in there next to the...
You're on your last square. When you get to your last square...
But here's the thing. Add this to Amazon's thing. No, add this to Amazon's thing of instant delivery, which they're testing in New York, right? Or drone delivery. So now...
Drop toilet paper on my head.
You're literally like, I just ran out. And
drone delivery? Are you serious?
Drone delivery of toilet paper because you just ran out.
That thing that we were laughing about at Dreamforce where a drone delivered a 6-pack of Coke was not so much a laughing matter anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Amazon's they're trying to get clearance.
I don't really know about this whole drone thing. It wouldn't work. I'm in a building. How does the drone
Comes with your window?
Comes to my window?
Yeah.
I have screens on my windows.
No, well, that's a mistake.
You can only open your window 2 inches.
I can reach out and grab some toilet paper.
No, you can't. You couldn't.
I could.
You could not.
I could definitely put toilet paper.
I know we're trying that later.
All right, maybe we will. Anyway,
let's move along.
It's a little interesting. It's not a joke, but I think the idea of the just in time of stuff is good. All right, so let's go to the next one. Well, this is big.
Yeah, this was a big one. They just sort of left here. That's why I was trying to move us along.
It's not that big.
Dreamforce Reg is open.
That's not that big.
It's open. Go Reg.
It's Go Reg.
What's it, $1,000 or something?
It's $10.99.
We don't even have a code right now to give to people.
I don't think they're giving out codes this year. You're gonna
Last year, we had all these codes we were just throwing out there for people, and
I will say
it's
the best registration experience I've ever had.
Well, yeah, they've got that figured out
because you're already in success.
Yeah, you've already gone to Dreamforce. Then you're going to be able to do this really easily.
Yeah, you're in there. You're already in success. You click on Dreamforce, the tab in the success community, and it's just like register. Boom. They got all the information. They fill it out. There's some things, although, I always fill out, and they always seem to not like pre-populate. Like, wouldn't it be exactly the same data I had from last year? There's something it asked me again. That's whatever. You pick your hotel. You do whatever. It was really simple. There's something new this year. The Dream Ship. Is that what they're calling it?
Dreamboat, Dreamforce Cruise, I think is officially called the Dreamforce Cruise.
Well, they shouldn't say it's a cruise because it's not going anywhere.
It's a cruise ship, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a cruise because people are like, well, where's the cruise part? You're not going anywhere.
Bring me out into international waters now.
This was a joke 2 years ago. We were kidding about this. This was a rumor. Do you remember it? Like, we talked about this. You don't remember this?
No.
There was, I think we even talked about on this podcast. We talked about.
You think I remember things that we talked about on this podcast?
You barely remember anything.
I don't remember.
We talked about them bringing a cruise ship and having you be able to book into the cruise ship.
Oh, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was so big.
I thought we were talking about Super Bowl.
No, we were talking about Dreamforce.
Oh.
And we were like, yeah, we heard Dreamforce is going to get so big that they're going to bring in a cruise ship to be an extra
hotel.
They're
doing it.
Well, they're actually doing it. Kind of interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's not.
I would only stay on the cruise ship if it was docked in a convenient location and it was like being on a cruise, so I could just eat and drink all the time I'm on the boat.
Yeah, I don't know what any of that stuff is.
Because in all reality, staying in a room on a cruise ship just to stay there is not comfortable.
But at Dreamforce, it's comfortable enough. It's just a bed.
Yeah,
but at Dreamforce, you really just need a bed.
Brutal.
Yeah. Well, it's better than staying by the airport.
It's definitely better than staying in Oakland or staying by the airport or what have you.
Let's see if it actually works. I mean, it's their last shot to kind of because there's no
more
hotels.
Register, kids.
Go register. Yeah, pricing is going up.
Let's go. Get there.
We have no codes.
Be there.
Be there.
No codes.
We will
Maybe
be there.
We'll get one. Maybe we'll get one.
Will we podcast at Dreamforce?
Yeah,
definitely. Admin Zone we know is happening.
And we'll be podcasting.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
all right.
Sure.
So I'm going to set you up for this one. Next time on. Yep. Yeah, I know you don't like it.
I just made a face.
You made a face. Not a good face.
I made a face.
So we're going to talk a little bit about NGO Connect.
All right.
Next time.
Great.
That's going to be our topic. We have both been trained on NGO, boot camped. and you are currently in the midst.
I am.
Of an NGO Connect
project.
I was
deep into NGO Connect
So I feel like within another 2 weeks, because we won't have podcast next week, you'll be deep enough that you'll be able to talk about it. You'll be deeper. Speaking of going deeper, why don't you give me your pick of the week?
All right. Link Blabber. Link Blabber is my pick of the week.
I don't want to know what this is.
So Link Blabber is like a mix between, it's going to sound so silly.
Yep.
Twitter and one of my all-time favorite Web 2.0 darlings, Delicious. Do you remember Delicious? It was that social bookmarking application that Yahoo had purchased or maybe even developed when they were doing like Flickr. That was big.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is Link Blabber. It's like Twitter, but you can't tweet or send out a blabber without no, it's so silly, without a link in it. So it's like specifically for sharing links.
But tweeting links?
Yeah, but kind of like how Instagram is like photos, Link Blabber is for links. So it's for sharing news and stories and things like that. So it's got a mobile app, it's got a web app. It's pretty cool.
This is something you will never use. You've already forgotten this. Is this just like did you just like literally just go on to like he's cracking up? Oh, it's your April Fool's joke. You're the worst April Fool's person in the world.
I'm terrible.
First of all, because it's
not
Link
Blabber.
It's not foolsy enough.
No one's going to try Link Blabber now, I guess.
I was wondering why there was no Earl here.
I know you kept looking for it, which is what was kind of
no, I wasn't doing it. I was just staring at it. I was kind of like Link Blabber.
I seen you typing, so I thought you were like looking for... Anyway, Link Blabber, linkblabber.com.
Okay.
2 B's.
Okay.
Give it a try.
Really, you just can pick a fake app?
Yeah.
All right, fine. You're the worst. You're literally the worst of this ever. No pick I could ever make could be as bad as yours.
Spring 15.
All right, Spring 15.
Duplicate prevention.
So I am going to pick something real, thanks. I am on a mission to find the perfect weather app. My previous weather apps, I have picked, I think, Dark Sky, or maybe you picked Dark Sky.
I picked Dark Sky. That was my pick.
Forecast, I've picked. My current favorite until this new one was Yahoo's weather. Really liked it. But the new and pretty much going to take over for it's not as pretty as Yahoo, but it's like data galore. It's called Storm. It's by the people who did Weather Underground, which is a great like community weather site. They have a lot of like
so like Waze for weather?
Kinda. So they built this app.
Show me. Do tell.
And it's
all right.
it has
okay,
we don't
that's
have
a
any
map.
bad weather. We have the map. They can do also my favorite piece is this, which is that these
What's
are all
that?
these local temperature gauges because they do it from individuals.
All
so you
right.
can dig in and see like
drill.
You can drill real into real. Those are real temperatures being measured around our
By
area.
whom?
They're people who signed up for Weather Underground. They're like it's part of the community.
But how are you telling the temperature?
They have sensors they put out the window.
That they put out the
No,
window?
I'm not going to do that. So that's kind of cool aspect. You have all these things you can put over. They can tell
all
you
right,
where the
little
wind is,
overlays,
whatever.
cool,
Yeah.
whatever.
But then
What's the cool part? Can you get to the cool part?
it's just data. I mean, look at the data you get. All the daily stuff. You can go hourly. You can go by. I mean, it is just crazy how much. If you like want to really get into the weather, the pressure, the temperature.
If you're really
humidity,
a weather geek,
this
get
is great.
into it.
Oh yeah, this
How's
is
the
great.
phone version?
Phone is great too.
Because I'm looking at it on an iPad, and
Yep.
that form factor is pretty big. So
It is. It works great on a phone. It's free. They
Interesting.
also have one of my favorite features, which is that it doesn't work with no weather happening, but they do the future where they predict where things are going to go, so you can like play a picture of where the storm is coming. Anyway, there are just more and more. Plus, I like up here. They just have you can just quickly get to your last searches. Like there's where I'm going next week. There's Bermuda.
yeah, look at that.
And I can go down here and look at the forecast. Next 10 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, rain, sun. Anyway, and then you can expand these out and get sunset, sunrise, moonrise. I mean, it's pretty all in. It's a nice one. It's not as good looking. I'll tell you, Yahoo weather is awesome. It's very good looking, but this is pretty darn good. All right, so that's it. For the podcast, you can follow Justin at Justin Elstein or Just Edelstein. I'm at Jason Matwood. There's also the company that is. If you want to learn more about Microsoft Dynamics, you can go to at Arkus Inc. Tweet us there. Facebook.com/Arkus Inc. We're in the Success Community Group, of course. Oh, I didn't note Dreamforce. Nah, I'll do it next time.
Well, what about it?
I was talking to someone about Dreamforce, and I was saying one of the things that I think is happening with Dreamforce is that Success Community has kind of taken over the community aspect of Dreamforce. Because when I got to my first Dreamforce, when it's 5,000 people, you were like, oh, I'm surrounded by people who are Salesforce people like me, and we're all together, and we're helping each other, and we're doing stuff for each other. But now Success is kind of like a year-long Dreamforce. There's people in there meeting and grouping and doing sessions.
I would think that the people who run the community would consider that a success.
Yeah, but doesn't it feel that way? Like kind of
a little bit.
Some of the feeling you get from that Dreamforce of being surrounded by people who are of like mind.
I always really enjoyed Dreamforce for seeing the people that I didn't get to see very often, and I still think that's the case. While I talk to them more often and are enabled to communicate with them more often, I still don't see them all that often, like maybe once or twice a year. So being able to see people that I don't see very often is really, to me, the thing that makes Dreamforce so great, aside from just the overall Salesforciness of it. Okay, sometimes that gets on my nerves, as you know. I've ranted, I've raved.
You have.
I have ranted. I've gone on rants.
You have ranted and raved about things that.
Yes, I have.
I know. I'm just saying. So anyway, it was just a thought I had. Is that
Good thought.
Part of what made Dreamforce so special is now being replaced by a little bit of what Success does, which is having a place to go to talk to like-minded people. And now it's 365 days a year, not just once a year. So it takes a little bit away from Dreamforce and puts it a little bit more in Success, because I feel like I don't. If I want to go surrounded by people and talk to people and get things, I have it. It's in Salesforce, and it's in Success, and I can get there. So think of it that way. Anyway, I won't read all the rest of it because we'll be back in not 1 but 2 weeks when I'm back from vacation, and we will talk about NGO Connect and get into it. Until then, Justin and Jason saying enjoy those cloudy days.